Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I'm Uyi Agmofegwe. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has stepped down the memo on the new minimum wage for President Bola Tinubu to engage in consultations with state governors and the private sector. Minister of Information Mohammed Idris, who announced the decision today while speaking with State House correspondents at the end of the council meeting, said the final decision on the new national minimum wage will not only affect the federal government, but states, local government, and the organized private sector. Idris noted that President Tinubu will make an informed decision after a wider consultation, stating that the new national minimum wage requires input from all stakeholders. In a related development, the presidency has appealed to Nigerians not to mount unnecessary pressure on President Bola Tinubu, assuring that he would transmit the proposed bill on the new minimum wage to the National Assembly once it is ready. Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, made the plea today. The assurance comes barely 24 hours after the organized labor had urged the president to consider consulting and reaching an agreement with its leadership before transmitting the bill to the National Assembly. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Olatunji Bello as the new Chief Executive Officer and Executive Vice Chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, subject to Senate confirmation. The President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajire Ngalale, said Bello, who is a lawyer, administrator, and journalist, a former secretary to the Lagos State Government, and holds a master's degree in international law and diplomacy from the University of Lagos. The immediate past governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, has challenged his successor, Governor Hyacinth Alia, to disclose the wage bill of the state. In a statement issued by his media aide, Terva Akase, in Makurdi, the state capital, the former governor also asked the governor to publish the allocations received since his assumption of office. Ortom's call followed Alia's disclosure that he inherited 359 billion naira in salary arrears from his predecessor. On a sad note, Deputy Controller of Finance and Administration and Technical Service of the Nigerian Customs Service, SCN Etop Andrew, is dead. Andrew was said to have died at the National Assembly Clinic in Abuja today, where he was a guest of the Public Accounts Committee of the House of Representatives. He had appeared for questioning in continuation of the ongoing probe of revenue-generating agencies and parastatals of government. That's quite a sad story there. Let's turn to a different development now. The Labour Party Transition Committee has opposed the call by Abure to elongate his tenure in office as chairman of the party, describing the move as an act of political desperation. Our correspondent, Adikon Michael, who was at the scene of the protest, now brings us details.
On arrival to the party headquarters, security officials had barricaded the premises following the instruction by Julius Abure, who is still claiming leadership of the party.
Our reason of coming here today is to tell Abure that your tenure has expired. And the NTC committee have been set for us to go for congresses. So there's no need for Abure to still remain in the office.
In attempts to force their way into the premises, the police fired tear gas to dispatch the protesters. Explaining the broader implications of Abure's action, the Labour Party Transition Committee, led by Abdulwahib Umar, noted that his continued stay in office is not ideal for the party and stakeholders.
From today, that is the end of Abure era. Whether he has sponsors anywhere, we are Nigerians, and by the time, nobody will tell us how to mobilize in this country. If we can mobilize 100 people, we can mobilize 10,000 people.
The NLC had backed Abure during the war of attrition between him and Apapa. With the new peace deal between Abure and Apapa, the two camps will team up against the plans by NLC to take over their party. Abure, who had enjoyed NLC support, fell out of favor with the union following a contentious national convention held in Anambra State that returned him and all his loyal members of the National Working Committee to office 3 months ago. These compelled the NLC Political Commission to vote the new leadership and set up a transition committee saddled with the task of engaging stakeholders of the party and conducting a fresh convention in 90 days. Edikan Michael, reporting for Global TV News.
Federal Capital Territory Police Command says it has arrested 4 out of 6 suspects believed to be responsible for the murder of Brigadier General Uwem Ondokwere, retired, who was murdered in the local Goma area in Abuja. Parading the suspects in Abuja, the Commissioner of Police, Bernard Thigwe, says 4 out of the 6 suspects were arrested following intense investigation by officers of the command after the incident, which occurred last Saturday. Kekelemo Okere has details.
The police boss explained that the 2 suspects have now been declared wanted, while the duo, one named Malam and Ado, escaped with the general's pistol, while the knife used in stabbing him and his phone was recovered by the police.
Plus 2 others that we are declaring wanted now, immediately. We are the people who raided, 4 of them plus the 2 we are declaring wanted are the people that raided the house and killed the general. We have recovered the knife they used in stabbing him, and we have recovered the phone of the general from them. 2 of them that have been declared wanted, we are getting them. They have just left with the gun of the pistol of the general.
Also, some suspects were paraded for other crimes ranging from kidnapping, gun running to one-chance activities. Kekelemo Okere, Global Television News.
Thank you, Kekelemo. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, says it has activated the National Cholera Emergency Center following the outbreak of the disease in the country. It also said 53 deaths and 1,528 suspected cholera cases were recorded across 31 states and 107 local government areas, with a case fatality rate of 3.5% since the beginning of 2024. Director General of the center, Dr. Jide Idris, who spoke in an update on the cholera epidemiological situation in Nigeria, expressed fears that the situation might be compounded. Thank you so much for staying with us on the news. In the fight against illegal oil bunkering in Abia State, the Nigerian Army has raided illegal mining sites at Obeako in Ukwa West local government area on Monday evening, arresting 17 suspects involved in the illicit activities. This is in addition to 7 other suspects arrested by the military last week at the Isimiri waterside in the same Ukwa local government area of the state. Let's turn to Sokoto State now, where the government has refuted the claim by Muslims' rights concern over a purported plan by the state to dethrone the Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar III, describing the allegation as a malicious publication. The state government wondered how a responsible body like MURIC, claiming to be protecting the rights of Muslims, would descend so low and cheaply to join hands with deluded mischief makers and enemies of progress to fabricate such a false and unsubstantiated story just to create an unfriendly atmosphere and fear in the minds of law-abiding and peaceful citizens of the state. The management of Nigerian Education Loan Fund says it has announced a 14-day postponement of the application process for student loan for state institutions due to low data submissions. The fund stated that the decision was necessitated by the failure of several state-owned institutions to upload the required student data and fee information to the management of Nigerian Education Loan Fund student verification system. We're watching News Cycle, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Star Times, channel 276. Remember to follow us on social media using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the news returns, as economic hardship bites, petrol price reportedly hits 2,000 naira per litre in Adamawa State. We have that story and more for you right after this break. Do stay with us.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on Global Television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Oh, that goal! Beautiful work from the wingers!
This is Global Television, bringing you a live broadcast of News Cycle with Uyag Mofwebe. We appreciate you for staying with us. Now let's turn to the foreign scene, where Israel's Prime Minister has said the intense phase of fighting Hamas in Gaza is nearly over, allowing forces to move to the northern border with Lebanon to confront its ally Hezbollah. In his first Israel media interview since the start of the war in October, Benjamin Netanyahu said he expected the ground operation in the southern Gaza city of Rafah to be completed soon. Two Russian top officials may face the most difficult part of their career as the International Criminal Court, ICC, has issued a warrant of arrest against them for alleged international crimes, war crimes, and crimes against humanity amidst the ongoing war in Ukraine. Former Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and the Chief of General Staff Valery Karashinikov were slammed with warrants as the court said that the two were allegedly responsible for two war crimes. The accusations include directing attacks at civilian objects and causing excessive incidental harm to civilians or damage to civilian objects. A section of Kenya's parliament has been on fire minutes after protesters broke through police lines to storm the complex. Live footage on local television showed smoke coming from inside the complex. There have been reports of people being wounded as police fired rounds to disperse the crowds. A human rights organization said it has witnessed 4 protesters being shot and said that one person had been killed. This has not been confirmed. As we take you to Asia now, there is Water Minister Atishi has been admitted to hospital 5 days after she began a hunger strike to highlight the city's water crisis. The Indian capital has been facing severe water shortages as a prolonged heat wave has pushed up consumption. It was taken to hospital after her sugar levels dropped to 36, way below the normal range. And in business, operations in the downstream oil sector has called on the federal government to intervene by ensuring the provision of crude oil to the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, as marketers now prefer to buy cheaper imported refined petroleum products rather than patronizing Dangote Refinery. They also slammed the international oil companies operating in Nigeria for selling crude oil to Dangote Refinery above the global market prices, describing this as anti-country practice. Kano State government has remitted over 600 million naira for the execution of new development projects. Similarly, the government renewed its commitment to review all donor funding projects in the states to ensure hitch-free implementation, transparency, and accountability. The governor's spokesman, Sanusi Bature Dawakin Tofa, made the disclosure in a statement made available to newsmen in Kano. Governor Abba Yusuf gave the assurance at the opening of a stakeholder dialogue meeting on effective implementation of international development funds in the state. Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria has denied importing dirty fuel into the country, saying the diesel from the Dangote refinery contains more sulfur than imported one. The association is reacting to claims by the management of Dangote Oil Refinery that the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority had been granted licenses indiscriminately to marketers to import what they described as dirty refined products into the country. And still in the oil and gas sector, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN Adamawa Taraba chapter, has expressed resolve to continue its ongoing strike even as petrol sells for 2,000 naira per litre. Speaking in Yola, Adamawa State Capital, the association's chairman, Dahiru Buba, stated that the strike was occasioned by incessant harassment of its members and illegal seizures of their tankers carrying petrol by officers of the Nigeria Customs Service. He said customs officers had abandoned their designated areas of operation at the borders and were now targeting legitimate businesses in metropolitan and local government areas. Ambassador for Corporate Affairs Commission CAC Michael Wambufo says business registration can now be completed within 24 hours through the new special registration portal. Michael urged business owners to take advantage of the innovation and beat the July 7th deadline for mandatory business registration set by the Commission and the Central Bank of Nigeria, noting that the portal enables businesses register and receive documentation within a day. The number of electricity consumers rose by 210,000 from 12.12 million in the fourth quarter of 2023 to 12.33 million in the first quarter of the current year. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, in its electricity report for the first quarter of 2024, released in Abuja, said that the increase was by 1.78%. The Bureau's report says the review focuses on energy billed, revenue generated, and customers by the distribution companies under the reviewed period. Bureau de change operators in the country have yet to comply with the new guidelines for the operations released by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, 3 weeks ago. President of Association of Bureau de change operators of Nigeria, Aminu Gwadabe, stated that non-compliance by operators is due to a lack of clarity on the guidelines provided by the central bank. The association's president said correspondence to the Apex Bank seeking clarity on the implementation of the guidelines had not been responded to, insisting that such clarity has not been made for the existing BDCs. The Senate, through its ad hoc committee investigating how 30 trillion naira Ways and Means facility was obtained and spent by the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, has written to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation demanding some documents regarding the loans. Chairman of the committee, Senator Isa Jibrin, said the panel was expecting the documents from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. The European Union Commission says it has concluded plans to invest 150 billion euros in trade and transport infrastructure across West Africa, with a special focus on the Lagos-Abidjan corridor. The team lead of the EU delegation to Nigeria and Economic Community of West African States, Celine Lust, disclosed this in Lagos during a tripartite meeting between the Nigerian Shippers Council, EU delegation, and ECOWAS. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has now landed in Bangkok on his way to U.S. territory after leaving the United Kingdom via Stansted. The release of his website of secret United States government documents in 2010 made him notorious and sparked more than a decade's worth of legal battles. In sports, Calcio Mercato has said Napoli still have not received any offers for Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen and are now willing to listen to proposals in the region of around 85 million euros instead of the initial 100 million release clause as they took to cash in on the strike this summer. Other reports in Italy state that the Serie A side would agree to a player swap deal with Manchester United, which will see Mason Greenwood join the former Serie A champions, with Osimhen heading in the opposite direction. Nigerian football fans have called on the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) to hire Hervé Renard as the next coach of the Super Eagles. Renard, who is currently coaching the French women's team, announced he would leave his position after the Paris 2024 Olympics, sparking speculation about his next move. His impressive track record in African football, including leading Zambia and Ivory Coast to Africa Cup of Nations victories, has made him a popular candidate among Nigerian fans. We'll look forward to seeing what happens going forward. And that's the full circle on the news, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Global Television. We are on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using our Global TVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Uyagumwa saying a big thank you to you for watching. I'll see you again.